Hi. Prepositional phrase. What is a prepositional phrase? A prepositional phrase begins with a preposition and ends with a noun. So, in this example, they are in the car. They are in the car. In this example, the word in is a preposition and the word car is a noun. The prepositional phrase tells the reader or the listener where someone is. But there are other uses for prepositional phrases. As in this case, in the car is a prepositional phrase because it initiates with a preposition and ends with a car. Prepositional phrases are important because they provide us information about direction, time, relationship, position, or location. There are many different prepositions. Altogether, there are about 100. Some are more common than others. Here are some examples of prepositions. These are some examples of prepositions. These are usually small words like at, like by. But sometimes they can be longer like during or between. During and between we know that 5 and 7 letters respectively. Rather, there are 6 and 7 respectively. Following a preposition, we'll often see a noun. We can see in the example, snow is falling in the woods. Snow is falling in the woods. We can see in this sentence, in the woods is a prepositional phrase. Because it begins with a preposition in and ends with a noun, woods. Snow is falling in the woods. Here, prepositional phrase in the woods indicates a location. It indicates a location. I wake up early in the morning over here in this sentence, in the morning is a phrase that is again a prepositional phrase because it starts or begins with a preposition in and ends with a noun morning. Prepositional phrase in the morning over here indicates time. Previously it was indicating location, but in this case it is indicating time. So this indicates time over here. The patient was treated for COVID. Over here in this sentence, for COVID, this is a phrase that begins with for, which is a preposition, and it ends with a noun COVID. So it is a prepositional phrase because preposition follows a noun over here in this sentence. The waves are splashing against the shores. The waves are splashing against the shores. Prepositional phrase against the shores has got P as against and shores as a noun. So against the shores is a preposition that has, we know that preposition followed by a noun. In all these four sentences, you have a subject and then a verb. We can see snow is a subject, I is subject, patient, waves. And all of them, they are followed by verbs. Some of them, they are auxiliaries, the others are main verbs. So in all these examples, we can see that subject is followed by a verb and there is no object in all these examples. Rather, there are prepositional phrases towards the end of the sentences. So over here once again, she is subject, is an auxiliary verb, standing is a verb, it is followed by a prepositional phrase that is by the door. So subject followed by verb and it is followed by prepositional phrase. Now, he is leaning against the wall. Over here, he is subject and there is auxiliary is and leaning is also a verb. Over here, against the wall is a prepositional phrase because it starts with a preposition and ends at a noun. We can see again there is subject followed by verb, but there is no object. Rather, there is a prepositional phrase. Similarly, the car is in the garage. Over here, the car is subject, it is followed by verb is, in the garage is a prepositional phrase. Why prepositional phrase? Because it begins with a preposition and ends on a noun. So notice that in all of these you have a subject and verb and not an object but a prepositional phrase. So there is no object, rather there is a prepositional phrase. Word order in English is usually common, or it is very common, means SVO, means subject is followed by a verb, and verb is followed by an object. This word order in English is very common, but in this case, in all these examples, it's S is followed by V, and verb is followed by prepositional phrase. So as I mentioned earlier, that over here S is followed by a verb, and a verb is followed by prepositional phrases. She is performing for the audience. So over here she is subject, is performing is a verb, and for the audience is a prepositional phrase. They is subject, are is helping verb or auxiliary, dancing is a main verb, and on the dance floor is a prepositional phrase. So it means that all of them, they are following subject, verb followed by prepositional phrase, and there is no object in these sentences. Now, during the meeting, everyone talked about the plans for the new project. In this sentence, here is the subject, that is everyone. This is subject, and talked is a verb. So here is the subject and here is the verb, but rest of the sentence has a prepositional phrase. Here in the beginning, during the meeting, this is a prepositional phrase. It is followed by a comma in the beginning, and then here is a prepositional phrase about the plans. This is another prepositional phrase over here, and then here is a prepositional phrase for the new project. So there are three separate prepositional phrases in this sentence: number 1, number 2, and number 3. And that's a very common thing to find in English. It's also fairly common to put a comma at the end of a prepositional phrase that begins with, or that begins a sentence, if that prepositional phrase has 3 or more than 3 words. But this is something, it's not a rule. Now, she walked to the store to get some flowers. Over here in this sentence, she is subject and walked is a verb. To the store is a prepositional phrase. In this sentence, there is a prepositional phrase, to the store, and an infinitive, that is to get. This is just after the prepositional phrase over here. So here is the subject and this is the verb walked. Subject and verb walked. This prepositional phrase indicates where she walked. This one. This prepositional phrase to the store indicates she walked, and it tells us something that where she walked. And this is the reason, this is actually the reason that is infinitive to get why she walked to the store. So this is the answer to the question why she walked. So this is infinitive. We know that to is followed by not a noun, rather it's a verb. But again, be careful to identify the prepositional phrase means preposition. This is preposition and it is followed by a noun. And the infinitive here is the word to plus a verb. We know that this is not a preposition. This is not a prepositional phrase, rather to is followed by a verb, so it is actually an infinitive. Now, without objection, the hearing was adjourned. Over here, hearing is subject and was is verb. And there is another verb that is that this structure is in passive voice. Adjourned is a main verb over here. So here is this sentence that begins with a prepositional phrase without objection. This is actually a prepositional phrase. It is combination of two words. That's why we don't put comma over here. You could put a comma here if you chose to. This is in a passive voice structure but begins with a prepositional phrase that is having a preposition followed by a noun. Hope this will help you a lot in order to understand the concept of prepositional phrase. Thank you so much.